Alright. I'm gonna start with Hogfire, or Hog Champ here. Wait. No way you guys actually rolled out on this.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
That's what I thought. Better whip you guys into next week. So that's what happened. Okay. That makes a lot of sense now.
Barrier in place.
So that's already something to talk about.
Barrier in place.
That shield came out way too late, for one. It should have blocked all the storm arrows and it just blocked nothing. And then you see the hog over on this side, and you should immediately be pulling your shield and blocking him because he is currently the most important thing happening, because it is a hog on his own that can hook people off the map. So you need to go and ask yourself, right, what's more important? The front line, with a Rhine, a Moira, and a Hanzo, or a hog on the flank? That's what you need to be asking yourself. And due to us having a second shield to hide behind, I think that this is the most important part because it's a one person versus 5 people. Does that make sense? It's the most important thing happening right now.
Equation. Watch that equation.
Don't want me one hog, you're gonna lose. This point, I'm not sure why we're still, like, you know, pushing, because we're 1 down already.
Equation.
So what you need to do is you need to wall this off, and then sit on this side and just shift his hooks when he comes in. So that he can't hook on this side, he can't hook on this side, he's just useless. You as Sigma are anti-flank. That is what you are, right? At least in the double shield is what you are. Okay, if you're rolling single shield, then you're a main tank, obviously, and you know you have those roles. But as the secondary tank, in this scenario, you are anti-flank. Your job is to shut down people that try to hug off angles. Okay, so let me sort of explain this here. Okay, so let's talk about the beginning of Rialto, right? So you have the main. We're gonna call this the main choke, right? So this little area, we're gonna call the main choke, okay? Because that's kind of what it is. Okay. This and this are off angles, okay? So it's angles that people take to kind of be away from the team and shoot from a different angle, which is where where Leaf is right now, and where the hog is currently. He's currently at an off angle, right? A flank would be coming like from behind here, going all the way around underneath, and going around here. Those are flanks, right? So you are anti-off angle and on anti-flank, which means your brain needs to be just so massive that you are able to block off every single one of these when the opportunity arises, okay? The only time that you ever need to block off main is when we don't have an Orisa shield. So what you need to be doing is you need to be paying attention to how low our Orisa shield is, and to be able to preemptively push a shield forward before it breaks. Okay? And if he has another one, great, just retract it, and then keep focusing on yourself. Okay. Yes, yes. Oops. Oh, that's helpful. Poggers. We've just done that. Whoops. Whoops. There we go. So I think you've learned that Sigma is really bad up close. Just because it's so impossible to hit two shots, like one after the other, so close to really small targets. So don't try to 1v1 people up close, try to 1v1 them from far away. So I'm going to zoom out again here. I'm gonna explain something over here, okay? We got, so let's say you're right here, right, and you are Sigma, okay? Anybody, and your effective range, right, is based on your shield deployment. So you can deploy your shield about here, right? Any one of these directions, right? And a 360 around you. Okay. Now, if anybody gets inside, that's where it gets difficult because they can kite you and they can push past where your shield is effective. And once your shift is down, then you're just the sitting duck and you can't really do anything because they're just going to chase around and be right in front of your face. So that's the point where you need to go back to your team, right? And you need to force them into a bad position to be right next to their team, right? So what you want to do, and 1v1s like that, is just if they walk forward, you walk backwards. If they walk backwards, you walk forwards. It's kind of that the way we used to play bunker. You remember that? Kind of that tug of war is how you should be playing Sigma in 1v1s, right? So if you're right here and Hog is right here, that's exactly where you want him. You just put a shield in front of him, and you just hammer him from right here. You left click, and then if he tries to go closer to go past your shield, you walk backwards, retract your shield, and put it back. And then you're in the same position that you were before, right? And then also using your hard CC to stop important abilities, right? Like, for example, if Reaper comes in and he's about half health, you can rock him so it stops the Wraith from being able to go off because of the short stun, and then you're actually able to kill him at the end of it. Same goes with like Hog heal, stuff like that. If that makes sense. So you're getting way too close to this Hog to get, and you're exiting your effective range when you get that close. Nice. So remember your jumps to take space. So let's go back here. So let's go back here. You are pushed way far up from your team, which is fine if you were to put up a shield, like, so here's, oh, that was bad. Okay, here we go. Bam. So now you're trying to cut off the Reaper, which is something you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to, we went over this before, you are anti-flanker. But you also leave yourself open to this because your team is over here, meaning that they are going to be sitting on the payload. They don't move from the payload. So you by yourself, you have to cut off two different angles. So what you should have done is you should have cut off this angle right here, either right here or right here, and then gone for the Reaper just in a 1v1, just straight up. Because you have your shift, you have your rock, and there's not much that he can do without, because once this payload peeks the corner, he has to be gone, and either here or in here, right? But you have to make sure that you're blocking off angles to where you can get attacked if you're gonna take space like this, right? You have to block up the area that they're coming in from. Because then, instead of taking 1 angle damage, you're taking 2. Which can lead you to get killed very, very fast. Because you're not that tanky. His tankiness comes from him using his abilities correctly. That's why he's so hard to kill. Nice rock, by the way. Really nice rock. You kind of just... You kind of just forgot about Reaper. You kind of just let him do his own thing. You were going to cut him off, and then you just were like... You were just like, eh. See you later. And then he comes back onto the cart when that's your job. We went over this, too. You have to remember that your shield is not Narusa's shield. You can block, like, teensy bits of damage and, like... And then just retract it immediately. It doesn't have a cooldown.
Elementary application.
Which you have to abuse if you're going to play this character correctly. The cart is currently being stalled, and you can hear a hog laughing behind you, and a Reaper shooting at your team. This is good, don't get me wrong, taking space like this, but you're also leaving your team open to be flanked. And they don't have somebody necessarily to be anti-flank. The person that... You need to... How do I explain this? Farah kind of does the job of taking space because they have to deal with her and she is able to push them back. While you can take space, but you can also anti-flank. Farah can't. Farah cannot anti-flank. That's all on you. So you have to be there on cart to be anti-flank if there's a flanker. If there's not a flanker, then you are welcome to go ahead and take space. But your playstyle needs to be changing based on what's going on in the game. Your playstyle is no longer wait for Orisa halt and then hook it. Your playstyle is no longer follow the Rhine and just hold left click and bubble him. It's very fluid and it needs to be that way in order for you to be successful on this character. And I know that you're smart enough to do this role, so please do it.
Observe the barrier.
Like, that was a great shield. That was a great shield, because you recognized that there wasn't an Orisa shield, so you put it in front. It was great. Aiming for the floor, it's good. Yep. So you need to keep in the back of your mind that there's a hog back there, and keep flicking your mouse backwards to watch for him. Because you know what he's going to try to do. You know he's going to try to hook people into the water is what he's going to try to do. You can hear him too. I know you're trying to get spawns and stuff, but like... There's a hog sitting back there. So, this, like these characters do all the job of the front line that you'll ever need. You don't need to be there spamming damage. You need to be there to cut off their win condition. Their win condition is hog or one of the DPS to kill Bastion. Or hog to hook him off the cart into the water. That's the win condition. If you stop that win condition from happening, they can't win. Because that is their, by definition, their win condition. The only way that they're going to win is by that happening. The other option being they throw a bunch of ults, but there's nothing that you can really do about that. You can block a little bit of their ults, but, you know, it's pretty negligible.
Activating the barrier. Back to me.
Didn't you ult him here? You did. I'll let that one slide, it's kind of funny. You see, there's people on the flank. There's 3 people flanking, and you're focused on the 1 person ahead of you. And then Twigs ends up dying because of it. Why does Twigs die? Because you completely forget that there's an enemy team behind you. Let's watch. You can see he's taking. I guess it's a little bit late. It's probably because you're 1v1ing a hog when there's a whole team to be dealt with. Okay, now that he's rezzed, now you have to protect him. Throw a shield up here! Hello? They're just shooting through this window. You can block off the entire window with a shield. Come on, Hog. Flippin'. They're just shooting you through one shield. Just put up a shield, please. I know you're not used to shielding, and that's why. You're used to playing Zarya and you're used to playing a Hog, but you have to recognize they have a shield. It's literally the most important part of your kit.
I'm on fire.
Is the fact that you have a 1500 shield whenever you want it, wherever you want it. So, you need to be playing... I paused it, hello?
To 3.
Oh.
Switching sides.
The flames don't pause.
Initiating match.
So you have to think about Sigma as a lot like D.Va. And a lot like D.Va in the fact that you can, number 1, support the front line, but you can also support the back line. Same with Zarya, it's the same concept. Same exact concept. But you have to be using your shield because it is so, so crucial. And there's no other way for me to say it, there's no way for me to magically make you use your shield, you're just going to have to do it. You're just going to have to hello? You're just going to have to recognize that it's a thing that you need to do and do it.
Hoi.
Ready for battle.
There's nothing special I can say that is going to make you use your shield. It just comes from experience and it just comes from playing the character, which you're going to be doing a lot of, so you better do it well.
Stop the pain.
Let me patch that up.
Barrier in place.
You can actually drop shield while you're shifting. So if people try to shoot at your shield that's in front of you, you can drop it and immediately shift and you'll take all the damage that was going towards the shield, which is very, very helpful. We get rolled here. You played that pretty well, we just kind of fell apart. Look at Brig. That's what the patch notes did to her. She just face planted on a wall. Feels bad, man. Stop. Stop doing that. Don't poke like that. You're just gonna die. The only thing you can do is hold the corner. But in this meta, we don't have a Lucio to close the gap, and so the gap can't be closed. We have a Lucio, but there's no D.Va to close the gap, so you just kind of gotta wait and control the corners when it comes along. I didn't teabag him too. You know, you were really quiet last night, and I was gonna say something because I figured you were tired. But I'm glad you haven't changed at all.
Observe the barrier. Retrieving the barrier.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
You could ult that if you wanted to keep the staggers coming. Because they lose this fight all day.
Double kill.
So one thing that's going to be crucial in this meta, I know I keep saying this, in this meta, but shields, one is deployable, but they're both deployable, but one just sits on the ground. So if you can lift Bastion up over the Orisa shield, and Sigma's not there to block it, he is a very easy kill, because also you lift him above this deployable as well. So Orisa and Bap have deployables, but they have to be on the ground. So if you lift them above the ground, neither of those things will happen, and Bastion will die, most likely, if you can kill him in the air. So call it if you grab Bastion. I don't know what to say. Black hole on Bastion, flux to Bastion. I don't know. Lift it up, Bastion, something like that. Just say something, and then the team will focus him from then on. We have a few characters that can do so, and he will die relatively quickly. So for everyone that's watching this, we played this so badly. All we had to do was peek into one of these two corridors right here, and we would have been completely safe from this. Because they have to touch cart, and cart is right behind you. So if they ever want to get on cart, they have to jump down. And once they jump down, they jump on top of you. And you have a main or reaper. So who do you think is going to win that fight? Let's be real. Also, I don't know what that was. That was garbage. I think Dan got a little cocky. That was smart. I like that. Instead, what you guys did is you gave them all the space that they could ever want. You let them get out of spawn when you didn't have to, which then gives them all the space that they need to get Bastion back on the cart, which you cannot do. If Bastion ever gets on the cart, it's pretty much game over. Until you get more ults to push him off. That's a really good ult. I think Leaf switches here. Because he should. Nope. Oh no, wait, this was a Pharah. Never mind. He's just in Widow.
Barrier in place.
Okay, so here's a good example. So when Pharah ults like that, all you have to do is just put a shield in front of her face, and she'll just kill herself. It's like what you do with D.Va. Because your matrix is smaller. So here, we can actually watch this in real time, dude. Let's watch this again.
Barrier in place.
It looks like she's looking for a brush.
Justice reigns from above.
Okay, so here's the angle. She's going for the Bastion, obviously. Okay, yeah, he died really fast, to be fair. Wow, that was fast. There's not really much you could have done in that situation, to be honest, unless you saw her coming beforehand. Which then you would just project a shield in front of her. Dude, I wish Leaf would do that much damage with his barrages. That'd be so nice. Yeah, you can kind of see her coming, but I don't know. You played it okay. Twigs needs to be further up with you. I like you holding this space here. Those are nice bounces. Really nice. Okay, so let's go over this. Sigma 1v1. Okay. So, he has a rock. Okay. He has a gravitic flux. That was okay. Let's try that again. A gravitic flux. And he has a shield. Okay. And he also has his regular left click. So, each of these can block each other. Gravitic flux can block left clicks, but it cannot block rock. Shield can block left click and can block rock, but it does not give you extra shield like gravitic flux does. Not gravitic flux, whatever his DM is called. So the most important things in this matchup, right? So once he starts his defense matrix, whatever you might want to call it, why is his hand moving? It's just flipping me out. It's supposed to be paused. Anyway, so once he starts it, he can't stop the animation. So that's when you throw your rock. Okay? So basically, you have to wait for rock to come out before you start your shift in a 1v1. Otherwise, you just kind of bounce around each other and just try to find the angle underneath his shield to bounce onto him. Or if he puts it along the ground, then you can find an angle above so that it explodes and hits him. Does that kind of make sense? So basically this is all about, this 1v1's all about like math and trigonometry is pretty much what it's all about. If that kind of makes sense. You can block his, you can stop his DM with rock, but he can also stop yours. So you don't really ever want to use shift in this matchup. It's just a detrimental death sentence, is pretty much all it is. It's just a free rock for him, unless you put a shield and then you go in front of your shield and then go back. So like, if you were to put a shield, you go forward and press shift, and then you were to come back afterwards when he tries to throw a shield, or throw a rock, that would also work. But yeah, if that all makes sense. You see how you used your shift earlier, and then you didn't have it for him? So what these two want to, so what this comp wants to do, right? If you're looking at their comp, if you remember that whole 4-step process thing that what's his face Sideshow was talking about, right? They're going to want to flank, so you're going, they're going to flank is pretty much what I'm trying to get out here. And you have to have flex for when they do. Not flex, whatever the flippin', I don't know what it's called. Whatever you want to call it. You need to have it for when they come in. Whereas if you just get halted like that, you can just shield and then walk away. There's not much that they can do about it. It's kind of, you know, wave goodbye. Our Bastion died to a Reaper. It's interesting. I wonder whose job that is. He wraiths? You shoot at him once, and then ignore him completely. Why? Let's watch the Reaper's point of view here. I don't know what Dan was thinking here. Partly Dan's fault for trying to 1v1 a Reaper. Let's see what else the Reaper does. Rails on you completely and then ult you. You completely ignored him the whole time. Is the only reason that we lost this point. That is your job. Any flankers, which is going in this meta, is going to be Reaper and is going to be Doomfist. You need to deal with them. We're going to try to get possibly Brig into more comps to help deal with Doomfist. Otherwise, that's all on you. You need to be there with a Rock when he comes in. You need to be there with a Shift when Reaper comes in. That's not what we want to watch. There should be no reason that you're up here. There should be no reason. You should be right here, blocking off this flank. And you can also shoot through here, and you can bounce orbs behind them. There should be no reason that you're up on the front line. Absolutely zero reason. Instead, what's happening is that your shield is breaking, and our Orisa shield isn't doing anything. Let's watch this from Twigs' point of view. So puts up a shield, blocking a lot of damage. He puts down a shield, and you put down a shield in front of it. So by the time his shield... So now his shield is back up again, and he only used 300 health of it. Okay? We go to you, and you used... how much? 1100 of yours. Okay? His is an instant recharge. Yours is not. So now you actually have less shields than them because you decided to put your shield in front of Orisa's for no reason. That kind of makes sense?
Barrier in place.
What are you doing? You're giving me a stroke.
Everything's going according to plan.
I don't know why they're writing Mercy. Where was this again? What is your shield blocking? Your shield's blocking nothing. It's blocking trash damage. It's there for no purpose at all. And I know you probably forgot about it. I know you probably forgot about it. But it's so crucial because I talked about this in Tweaks' side review. I don't know if you watched it or not. You probably didn't. But we were talking about the difference between trash damage and, for lack of a better term, actual damage. So there's a difference between, like, for example, we'll take Soldier for example, right? He's got his left click, and he's got his Helix rockets, right? This looks pretty good, right? So these two abilities, this is trash damage. This is actual damage. This is damage that he specifically puts into shields to break them. This is damage where he's trying to kill someone. Does that kind of make sense? So whenever Reaper's flanking, all he's doing is actual damage. Because he's trying to kill someone. Whenever you are trying to kill someone, you need to be blocking that damage. Does that make sense? So once our Orisa shield is broken, they're going to try to shoot us. So you need to put a shield in front of it to block them from killing us. Because they are no longer trying to break shield, they are trying to kill us. Which means that actual damage is now coming through. So your job as Sigma is to block actual damage. Is to block deadly damage and damage that people... damage where people are trying to kill you. If that makes sense. Orisa doing... right now, this Orisa is dealing trash damage. It is purely to break shields and purely to hold this space that she has. That's all that that's for. She's not trying to kill anybody. She's not trying to do anything with it. All she's trying to do is break that shield. So you don't have to block that, because that's not actual damage. It's just trash. This will block trash damage. It will keep them from dealing actual damage to your team. Your job is to block any other damage that might be coming from any other direction. Let's see what you do here. You're on the front line while they're flanking. And you get out of the way. They just kind of ult. And you kill yourself. They kind of just press Q, but done. Dan kind of carried, so.
Team up for special attack.
He literally just killed everyone, so. You think down. I bet you tried to boost there, like Diva boosters.
Victory.
Okay, did that all make sense? You need to rewatch it, do it, because there was a lot of pertinent information. Let's move on and do a monkey one. It's gonna be a really long video.
Now traveling to Busan.
Already been doing this for like an hour.
Ready for battle.
You didn't have to bubble there. know what you were trying to do. You were trying to stop him from dealing damage to you, but even if he got a shot at on you, it's not the end of the world. You can just bubble after. Ooh, don't do that. Don't do that. You never want to be in the front line with this comp. You always want to be behind them. So let's try to draw this out here. Okay. So we have our team, right? Coming towards their team. We're forcing them to back up and taking the space that they had. Right? So let's back up a little bit, watch this fight from this point of view. This is also another thing where why Lucio is so important is because we take the space first, and we are able to take this corner. Corners are so crucial because it allows us to be able to control the point without even being on it, because they have to cross this wall right here. They have to get there. They have to cross this wall in order to get to the point. And we're just right there with hammers and fists and shotguns just ready for them. So I'll explain to you what your job is in this count. So number one, to stop flankers, which you did. Or, yeah, nice bubble, by the way. Nice bubble. Idiot. Okay, so look at what we're doing, right? Number one, this positioning is garbage. Twigs backs up a little far, and I don't think he tells anybody. Regardless. So we are forcing them into one of two ways, right? This way or this way. So your job is to force them to go a different way, right? Your job is to force, you could go, back up a little bit here. Like, maybe look at it like this. Okay, that's kind of hard to tell now, but that was terrible. Okay, we're not gonna do that again. That was a mistake. So you have a few options here, right? What? Okay, you have a few options here, right? So you could, number one, cut off this angle. You could kind of just poke a hog, which, I mean, it's a hog. I don't recommend that. You probably shouldn't, but you could. Your other option would be to go on this side, where the supports are, and force them to go into your team. So your job in this comp is to force them to either deal with you, or to take the space that's near your team, right? You want to force them into your team is what you want to do. Either they have to deal with this massive health pool of monkey, like just zapping at their supports, or the supports have to forcibly go this way right into Doom and Reaper. So what you end up doing is you end up dropping what you did right here. Just completely gave up any like what's the word? Any usefulness that you had previously, because your range isn't far enough. You're just sitting behind a shield. You're doing nothing. They are now able to take this space again for free without doing anything. Because you decided to give up an advantage for nothing.
The objective is now active.
So now, oh, it's annoying. So now, just you existing here, just the threat of, that's the word, threat. Just the threat of you being there is enough to drive them from being anywhere close to this building. Does that kind of make sense? So it's kind of like Reaper, right? Let's take Reaper for example, right? Just the threat of him existing means that you can't run dive. Just because he is a character in a position means that you can't run dive. You can't run anything in remotely close to a close quarters combat unless you also have Reaper, because he's just going to destroy you, right? So it's kind of the same idea but different, where just you existing in this space forces them to either deal with you or either go up and deal with you, or wait for you to make a mistake, wait for you to come down, or just push past you and ignore you, which is what you want. So what you want to do, right, once they push, they're going to have to either push this way or this way, right? That's how you get to point. Or this way. They could also do this, but most teams don't do that. So what you're going to want to do is you want to... So you are... I'm trying to get more metaphors here because that's what I'm good at explaining. If... You know what is it called? A vice, right? You know what a vice is? Little machine thing that when you crank it, it pushes up this way, right? And it squeezes whatever's in here, right? So you are the bottom part of the vice, right? You force them up into your team here, into the big metal bar, right? So you want to... Here, let me... I hope you understand what I'm saying here, because I'm trying to make it make sense in an easier way. And I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to, like, you know, whatever. So if they go this way, right, if they just choose to ignore you completely and go forward, you're going to want to meet them at the back. So here, let's crash this. So say they decide to go this way. I'm on the point. Right about here at this corner, they're going to get stopped, right? So that's when you jump down and start clawing their back line, so that they either have to deal with you and ignore the corner and turn around, or they have to push forward and not deal with you, which is what you want, right? So you have to communicate when you're jumping down to create that pressure. Otherwise, you jumping down just does nothing. If you say I'm jumping down in 3, 2, 1, and then you jump down, then this part of the team can then aggress forward, and they are then in that pinched position. They have to choose what to do in that exact situation, which they're probably going to choose wrong, or just freak out and die. If they choose to go this way, which would be the optimal way, because it's miles away from this building, you would wait until our team rotates to meet them. And then you would just walk your slow little monkey butt up this way, and then claw them in this corridor, right? So you force them to do with you, or you force them to do with your team. Same goes for this way. You wait for your team to meet them on the other side, and then you force a pinch in this hallway. You are mobile enough to where if you get into a sticky situation, you're not going to die. That kind of makes sense. That's kind of the overarching idea. So you need to be taking positions like this building to allow you to move between between areas where they will push.
This will protect us.
Don't want to Super. You lose this all day. Stop. Yeah, it wasn't well communicated, that fight. The whole fight was super scuffed. So, why was that bad? Because you weren't forcing them to pinch, right? You jumped in the middle of them. That's what you're playing this like dive monkey, is what you're playing with. You're playing this like you would play monkey and dive. This fight, I believe. So let's take a top down view again. If I can, there we go. Like that, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Let's play here. So, what you're doing is you're taking their space, and you're forcing them to deal with you, which is what a dive monkey does. What you want to be doing is pinching them from the back, which forces them to go this way. Right now, you're forcing them to go on you, which isn't necessarily bad, but is a fantastic way to get yourself killed. Because you don't have Diva, you don't have Ball, you don't have the protection that you normally do in a dive. So if they notice that you're out of where you're supposed to be positioned, you're going to die very, very fast. With these two characters, even Hanzo, even Orisa can deal a lot of damage to you. So your job isn't to deal damage at all. In fact, you don't even have to get an ult in a game. Your job is simply to exist and to force pinches, for lack of a better term of what we're going to call them. Right. So you either want to pinch this way, you could pinch this way, or you could come from here and pinch this way. Either way, you're forcing them onto point, right? I would recommend sitting on this building and pinching the Hanzo this way, and pinching the Orisa this way. Does that kind of make sense? It's a completely different playstyle, and you have to play it that way, or else you're going to get very, very punished. You have to understand in this comp that you do not have protection. At all. Zero. No one is going to help you. If you don't play perfectly, you're going to die. There's no one to bail you out. There's no one to do anything like that. So you have to put yourself in positions that, number one, pinch the enemy to where you want them to go. Number two, so pinching being forcing them to be with you or forcing them to be with your team. You put them in a pinch in a situation that they don't want to be in. That's what you want to do. You need to get us into a position that, number one, forces a pinch. Number two, where you're out of danger. So you never want to pinch a hog, right? I mean, that's just a general rule of thumb. You don't want to pinch hog, but not a good idea. But or Reaper, right? You don't want to pinch people that are going to kill you, because then you die, and that's bad. We don't like dying. So instead, we fight people that won't kill us. Like Hanzo probably won't. Mercy definitely won't. Moira definitely won't. And Arista probably won't. So you're gonna choose one of those 4 characters to choose for your pins, right? So, PE. 2. Count of danger. Food. I had a third point, but I totally forgot. Usually you want to choose a high ground position, because it, number one, puts you into less danger, as well, because it's much harder to hit you when you're on the high ground, as well as you are also taking that space and that position away from them. So say Hanzo wants to get on this high ground that you're on right now, well, he can't, because you are there. So you want to force them into a pinch. This is how, so yeah, your position needs to force a pinch, and needs to keep you out of danger, and it needs to, it doesn't need to be in a high ground position, but it's preferable that it does, so that you take away that space from the other team. So yeah, this is bad. You should have died for this. 100%. So another rule of thumb being, you never want to be in the team, ever. On your team. You never want to be in your team at all. So unless you did a successful pinch where you forced them to go onto the enemy team and there's a brawl started, then of course, obviously, you can fight with your team. Because that's where the fight is. Yep, that's all good. So we kind of even talk about, you don't want to be pinching Reaper. Also, in order to play Monkey, we're gonna stop. We're gonna wait until this. Yeah, you just kind of hold up quick. Whoa.
I'm operating at optimal levels.
Okay, so you also need to know basic monkey mechanics of the combo, being the jump, melee. I don't know how to put it on the end. Let's try this again. Jump, melee right before you touch the ground. This does impact damage, and it does the melee damage, dealing a total of 80 burst damage. Okay, you want to do that every single time you jump, because it's literally free. Because if you do it correctly, the melee animation will actually get cancelled by the landing animation. It literally just won't even happen. It'll just be, literally just a free extra 30 damage, just for free. So do that every single time, as well as, I'm sure you know how monkey jumps work. If you, wherever you look is where you go, right? If you look up, you go up. But another thing is, if you look down, you'll do a little short jump. And the short jump is good because of what we just went over, right? The melee plus the landing damage. So if you do a little short jump on somebody while you're on top of them, it'll deal an extra burst damage, and it should help you finish them off. That's just basic monkey mechanics though, so as long as you know that stuff and get it down, you'll be fine.
Ready for battle.
forgot you weren't supposed. You're still supposed to signal me. I'm not even gonna bother finishing this video because I already went over what we need to be doing, and I'm just gonna be saying the same thing over again. So does that all make sense? I know it was a long video. It's like an actually it wasn't too bad. It's been like an hour, 15 minutes, something like that. Right. So there you go. You can stop complaining.